Okay. It is warm in here. James, oh, well, you did it for, thank you. I was like, I can't hit record. Okay, so welcome to Mindset Monday. This week's edition is Men Monday. And what we're going to do is go over the compensation plan. So Mindset Monday is all about being in the right mindset and having the right viewpoint, the right perception as you're building a sustainable, authentic, growing, savvy business. And one of the things to help you get you there is your posture, right? When you talk to somebody, how you feel, what your belief is going to definitely make an impact on how you're communicating with somebody. They're going to feel it from you. And there are many things that impact that. Some is your excitement, your love for the clothing. There's so many things, your confidence in what you're a part of, knowing the vision of Savvy, feeling connected. I can go on and on and on. There's so many things that contribute to it. But one of the things that can really help is your confidence in the compensation, especially as you start attracting people that are like, how do I get paid? Tell me more about that. How does your compensation plan work? And while you can always send a video, and we're working on that, it'll also be great for you to yourself to have the confidence of understanding just the basic ins and outs of our compensation plan. So typical Savvy style, as you guys know, we always love to shine the light on you, right? We wouldn't exist without you guys. We can run the day-to-day. We can create the tools, the communities. We can provide the foundation, right? But you are the one that brings the customers and brings the other brand ambassadors to Savvy and grows that community and contributes and brings people into it. So all we can do is create the platform, but you are a vital part, which is why we love to shine the light on our brand ambassadors. So we have with us today one of the men of Savvy, one of the few men of Savvy, right? But this man right here, James, you're going to meet in a second. He joined how many weeks ago, James? You joined like 5 weeks ago?
19.
Oh, they said 19 weeks ago. I'm like, that is not true. Okay, 19 weeks ago, and like ranking up like crazy. Where are you at right now, James?
About to click over senior lead.
Senior leader, about to click over senior leader in like literally just a handful of weeks. So not only is he another one of our brand ambassadors that's having success, but doing it as a man. And we're going to do a different call on that, by the way. But just really want to acknowledge James for everything he's done in this business, has done it in such a short time. And really he kind of reminds me a lot of Ken, and how Ken will be like, I shine the light on the women because they're the ones that are creating community. And James is like that. You know, James doesn't come on and he's like, hey, let's wear leggings. He comes on and is like, wow, he sees a tribe of women that are inspired by this and that are feeling empowered and really wants to help empower them. So James, we're super pumped you said yes to Savvy and that you're here with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. This will be fun.
I know. And then we also have someone who I like to call, like I always say, Rachel's my best friend. This guy's my brother. So come on here, Russ. Russ is over operations, which includes a lot of different things. Okay, time to make the camera higher so we see your head because I'm so short. Okay, so those of you that know, Rach and I are, it's like, bestie friends here. This guy's like my brother. Like literally, I would do anything for this guy. If he's like, hey, my house is on fire, I would get a hose. So, or at least try, or maybe I'll call the fire department first. But, as you guys know, we're like family here at Savvy. And Russ is someone that we have definitely linked arms and work hard on the day-to-day here to create this platform for you. And because he's over operations, finance falls under him, and he is very active in the day-to-day of finance. So we are going to hand this over. Well, first of all, anything you want to say?
No, just that it's mutual with my sister here. And I think knowing you and how fast you move, I don't think you'd wait for the fire department. You wouldn't grab a hose. I think you just grab a bucket and start.
And it would work. It would work, right? Awesome. So anyway, I'm going to actually bow out and hand it over and let these guys shine. I know. I'm so excited. I'm like, yes. But really let James share with you. One thing that's really unique about James is he's been in a lot of different companies. He's consulted with companies, and he understands the compensation plan. And I want you to hear it from a rep perspective, not corporate's perspective. I want you to hear it from a field perspective. So always shine a light on our wonderful brand ambassadors. We're going to have James pull up a presentation, share with you the ins and outs of the compensation plan. And Russ is here to contribute as well, answer any questions, and make sure that, if anything's needed, the finance questions or whatnot, he's here. So, yeah. All right. Over to #Men Monday.
Fingers crossed. No.
Finally. Oh, still there. Still there. No, I'm so excited to be here and share with everybody kind of a little bit more about the compensation plan. And tonight is going to be more than just about the compensation plan. This is Mindset Monday, so it's more about the mindset around the compensation plan. And we are going to, dig into some numbers and stuff like that. But like Jen said, we really want you to walk away from this presentation. This could be something where somebody says, how do I earn income at Savvy? What are all the ins and outs of it? This could be something you send them, because once you watch this will kind of give you a foundational principle and go, you know what? I understand this, and I can see how someone can really earn, an extra $500 a month, a full-time income, a business income, whatever that level of desire is for somebody. You can do that in this plan. We're going to show that. So, Russ, while I get the presentation up here, anything that you want to add in terms of the principles behind the compensation plan? Anything that you can add before we jump into it?
No, just what you said. I'm excited to see what you've put together. I know I'd add, and I think you're going to cover this. We're at an interesting time for the company. We're in pre-launch, so it's great to understand the compensation plan right now. But what you do right now might be a little bit different than what happens later. But we're really at a point of laying the foundation. So I think you're going to cover that a little bit. And I think it's a really good time for you and for those that you're recruiting, that you're prospecting, to understand how the compensation plans work, so you can lay that foundation, that groundwork now, so that when we're out of pre-launch and you're out there and things are just spurting and turning, you can really take advantage of what we've set up there.
Exactly. And that's what Jen said. It really is about having the posture of what we have here, and the posture of it being in pre-launch, and understanding what that means and what kinds of people you're looking for. That might change, it'll change drastically when we get to a point where we're at launch, where the types of people that you'll be looking for is a wider net than it is right now. And that's what we want to talk about tonight. So without further ado, this is me. So that's the dog. Most of you probably have no idea who I am, but I've been in the home-based business arena for about 17 years. I've been a serial entrepreneur. I'm a branding and marketing agency for many years. I live in Houston, Texas. If you just heard that, that's my husky in the background. And I'm an introverted guy. So if you think you have to be extroverted to do this business, you do not need to be that way. And like Jen said, I'm an advanced leader with the company, soon to be senior right now. And my background is not in sales or marketing. It's in training dogs. That's where I came from. So that's kind of a little bit about myself. But what we want to talk about tonight is really where we are right now as a company and how the compensation plan also fits into that. And you've probably seen this before, either somewhere else or maybe in our overview presentation. But there's 4 stages of growth in any business, no matter what business you're in. It could be a home-based business, a retail business, a corporate business, any type of thing that you're growing. It's always going to go through 4 phases of growth. And the place that everyone wants to be in right before it happens is this critical mass, or what they call a tipping point. This is when a brand or a company or a corporation or anything goes from no one knowing who it is to a majority of people knowing what it is. And if you're blessed to be in that position, when that happens, you get to be part of that hyper growth that happens. And not that the opportunity will be better or worse or anything as you go through that hyper growth. It's just the certain type of person that wants to be involved in that hyper growth, but they're also going to have to deal with challenges too, just like anything that you go through when you're going through hyper growth. And where Savvy is right now, we're in that pre-launch phase right before growth. So from the critical mass tipping point phase, we're probably still a good 12-ish, maybe more months away, 24 months away from that tipping point where it really kind of takes off. Even though there's people in Savvy that are doing $1 million in orders in a given month. So it's not like nothing is going on. It almost is going on too much, because people are like, oh, wow, the website looks great and the app looks amazing and all these different things. So you guys must have it all together. Well, kind of. It's like almost if you have the difference of having an iPhone in 2015 to having an iPhone now. The underbelly of Savvy is being completely rebuilt and remodeled to be something that is pretty exceptional. I don't know, Russ, if there's anything that you wanted to kind of touch on this growth curve, because I mean, you're in it, you're in the numbers, you're in it every day.
I think you've outlined it well. I'll tell you, there's a lot of days where it feels like we're in that hyper growth stage. We're like, whoa, this is blowing up, this is happening. But I think you're right. We really haven't seen anything yet where that underbelly, that foundation that you're talking about, when that really swings in and is in full play later on this year, it's going to be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's because what's going to happen is that people think it's growing now. People think, oh, why are people having success? They're earning incomes, all those different things. But we're not even close to what it's going to look like. And that's why we always use this analogy. We use this analogy of like right now, even though it might look pretty on the outside, our underbelly looks like a sandbox. There's like a Tonka truck sticking out. Like there's been like some buried treats over here in the sand. There's a half-built castle. That's kind of what it looks like now from like really the corporate standpoint. Because you ask Jen, what's the customer experience? She's like, no, don't enroll customers, because there really is no customer experience right now. Right now, it's clothing on a website, but there will be a whole incredible, elaborate experience. And so when we get to launch, the difference of what it's going to look like is if you're in your backyard playing in your child's sandbox versus lying on the beaches of Bora Bora. Like that's the extreme of what it's going to change like, even though a lot of people in Savvy right now, me included, go, wow, this is kind of pretty nice how it is now. Can it actually get better? And it's like, yeah, like if it's from 0 to 100, we're at like 32. And even in 32 looks really, really good. And so you can only imagine what it's going to look like when we get towards the end of this year, we get closer to launch and all those different things. And so I just want to kind of lay that framework first before we hop into this, because it's good to know the compensation plan. It's not something you need to, be an expert at. Like Jen said, I've been in the industry for a while, and compensation plans are kind of like baseball cards to me, as sports are to other people, as compensation plans are to me. I find them fascinating. I find them interesting. And the biggest thing is the best ones are the simplest to explain. And I really think the Savvy compensation plan is one of profit sharing, and it's one that can be easily understood because it's very foundationally built on the principles of any successful business model. And hopefully I'll be able to kind of share that insight with you tonight as we go through this profit sharing plan. That's really how I see this. I was up at corporate a couple of weeks ago, and I told Russ, I was like, Russ, this is how much you pay everybody. This is too much. And he's like, no. That's what we want to do. We want to share in the profits of the company. That's really what Savvy is all about. They're going, hey, we're going to empower our people to be able to earn whatever income they want to earn. And the first way to earn income is with retail commissions. So what does this mean? This is when customers that purchase retail at a retail price, and you earn the income from that. Now, if you have 20 pieces that are ordered through your online e-commerce website, you're going to earn 25%. So let's say that's a $65 average piece. You times that by 20, you get that amount. And what you get paid is $325 because you get paid 25% of the actual dollar amount of the retail price. So somebody spends $100, you get paid 25 bucks. And that's from the retail side of it. We're not talking about wholesale or brand ambassador. We're talking about a customer who purchases at a retail price. Then also just a little side note on this too. If they use any coupons, it's minus the coupon code. So if somebody spent $125, they used a $25 coupon, you're getting paid on the $100 because, again, the company isn't getting the $25. They're really sharing in the profit and using those coupon codes to empower us to be able to inform people. As we go down the line, the more pieces that are ordered through your website. Now, this doesn't have to be 50 people that order 50 pieces or one piece each. It could be one person orders 10 and another orders 12 and another orders 2. At the end of the month, when it adds up to 50, you'll get paid 27.5%. Now, here's another little side note too that I asked Russ to clarify for me. was, if it's the beginning of the month, because with the retail commissions, we get paid this pretty quickly, within like 24 to 48 hours. And so what happens if I sell 20 pieces in the first 2 weeks and then another 20 pieces a week later? And so at the end of the month, I've sold a total of 50 pieces. Well, then do I get the remainder of that? He says, yes. So let's say I get paid at a 25% rate, but at the end of the month, I've sold enough to be able to get paid the 27.5%. In the check for next month, on that next check, I'll actually get the difference of what I'm owed because I qualified for the higher percentage. So let's even say I qualify for the highest percentage, which would be 35% on an individual order, like 300 pieces or more. And that would be a check to me of $6,825. Now, again, this is all, income disclosure. Everyone has different skill levels and everything like that. You can actually earn up to 50% with this side of it as you move up through the ranks. So I think, if I'm not correct me, Russ, I think if you're an executive and you do over 300 pieces, that gets you to 50%. I think it's somewhere in there, right?
I need to, now you've got me questioning too. It's either executive or advanced executive where you hit that highest tier. But yeah, it's a combination of how many pieces you sell and what rank you are in the compensation plan where you can maximize that retail commission.
Yeah, and how it looks like on the compensation plan, you can go get that at savvy.com under policy and procedures and everything. How it looks exactly on it is like, here's the base, like this is the base commission. And then depending on your rank at the end of the month, you get an additional bonus. Is kind of how it looks. Yep. So that's retail commissions on terms of really just you having personal people that you've enrolled and they've purchased on your app and through that. And again, these are things that could be happening without you even knowing. That's why we do the weekly drops and all those different things, because once we get to the point where all of our technology is integrated and all intertwined and everything, all of your customers will get email notifications, they'll get push notifications, all these different things. Right now, it's a little bit on a manual level that we have to let people know about things, but soon to be integrated. So, people will be purchasing things while you're sleeping, and you won't even know what they're doing. So it's a really cool thing that we're going to be kind of working towards. Anything else about retail commissions that I missed there, Russ?
No, I think you explained it well, and I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, we even see that today, but it's going to be even better once the new technology swings into place, where this is something where you can be out there actively selling, but anyone can have the app in their pocket on their smartphone, can go in and buy. They can be following us on Facebook and watch the lives, and you can go to bed one night and wake up in the morning and you've sold 10 pieces. You're on your way for the month to getting up into the higher commission tiers with the retail commission.
Yeah, and this is also what we talked about. We'll kind of talk a little more as we wrap up tonight, but retail side of this and customer side of this, it's kind of a second thing to sharing the brand ambassador opportunity that we have. And this is where it's going to shift when we get to launch, because right now it's all about finding people that maybe they want to try their clothing, but it's more about seeing the business side of this. That's what we're going to talk about in a second here. And once we get into launch, it's really going to be almost 100% customer retail driven, where the way somebody will get exposed to Savvy is just how you think. Someone shopping, somebody wearing, and somebody sharing their app and the clothing that they're using, and sharing that, and somebody coming in as a customer going, oh, I like this clothing. I want to share with a few friends, and then being invited to become a brand ambassador. So it's going to kind of go through that when we get to launch. Right now, it's kind of flip-flop. So the retail commissions will be something that's much bigger in the future versus now, where it's probably a very small piece of the income pie during pre-launch. Does that make sense for us? Is that correct?
It totally does. And it's, I think what you're describing is not so much of the numbers that are in the compensation plan itself. It's just the activity and the behaviors that you do in a pre-launch phase versus once we get launched.
Exactly. Perfect. And here's the next thing. So this is one thing that a lot of people are focused on right now, and they should be, are promo packs. Because we all know these are not required to purchase, but it has a lot of great benefits to it. We also know that when people purchase the $9.99, the $4.99, they're getting those in credits. And then we also have Wear and Share that's available for brand ambassador only. It will be available for customers when we get to launch, but right now it's just for brand ambassadors. So we have these promo packs, and each promo pack comes with its own bonus. So if I was enrolling Russ, and Russ purchased the basic pack for $249, I would earn a $50 one-time bonus, and I would also earn an additional share code. So I'd get an email from the company, hey, Russ purchased a pack, here's your share code to use for anything. Also, 125 CV, or basically the customer volume, that goes into the plan, and that pays out when we get to talk a little bit more about team commissions and everything. So if I enrolled Russ, the people that are above me, my support team, they would get credit for 125 of that CV, and depending where they are at in their ranks or whatever, they could also earn off that 125. So one-time bonus of 50, 125 into the team pot, as they call it, and that trickles up line. So that's the basic one. Then we've got Core, which is the $4.99 pack. I would earn $100 if that's what Russ did. I would get 2 share codes, and 250 of volume would go into the plan to pay out up. And then the Core Plus, which is the $9.99, you get a bonus of $200, 5 share codes for me to give out, and then 500 CV goes into the plan. And again, that pays out accordingly how it should. So those are how the promo pack bonuses work. Anything, this is pretty straightforward, but anything, Russ, to touch on here about these?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's pretty straightforward. And the only thing, sometimes people may get a little bit confused on, the CV numbers that we have on there, that's volume going into your commission tree. That's not your personal volume to keep you active for the month, but that's basically what's going into your team levels to get compensated. So sometimes there's a little bit confusion on that, but I would just add that point that this is actually commissionable volume going into your tree, but it's not to be confused with your personal volume that's keeping you active for the month.
Makes sense. The difference between CV and PV. So this is CV that goes into commissionable volume for the team, and then there's PV, which is different, and that's what you can get for qualify and all that good stuff.
Right. So I think you put it well. This is volume that's going into the money pot.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. The next thing we have, and I go over this really quickly in the bonus pools, because the thing about, and this is where we talk about profit sharing for the company. Really what the company is doing is they're taking a percentage of the total commissionable volume that we talked about, whatever that is for the country that you're in, because remember, at some point, we might go into other countries. And so there'll be different bonus pools depending on those countries, whenever that is. And so this is, we're talking about the US right now. So there's new customer volume. Basically what that means is that if you're in the new customer pool, depending on how many customers you enroll, and there's like some calculations on there and stuff, but this is based off enrolling customers. If you're in that pool, about 2%, about exactly 2% of the country's commissionable volume gets put into that pool and then split accordingly with the people that get into that. Then there's also the top enroller one, which basically that's all for packs. So depending on how many packs you offer, and it could depend on how much of this pool you get, depending on if somebody purchases a $9.90 pack or a $4.99 pack or whatever it is. And then again, 2% of the country total volume goes into this pool for those top enrollers. Then we have the North America pool. This is basically for executives, is how I look at it. Because once you become an executive with Savvy and you develop another executive, you can get additional bonuses. We're going to talk about that in a second. But as an executive, you can qualify for the North America pool, and that's another 2% of the total commissionable volume. And then most of you know about the Founders Club. As a Founders Club member, there's an additional 1% that gets put into the 20 people that secure a position for that. But again, you have to requalify for that every month as you're in a Founders Club, which is basically 100 CV, or in your 100,000 CV. I'm sorry, 100,000, which would be around 200,000 in orders for the month. Qualifies you to get into the Founders Club, and that's something that you have to qualify for continuously every month to stay in the Founders Club, and you get an additional 1% of that country CV. So you could be in one of these pools, all of these pools, none of these pools, whatever it is. These pools are just there for those that are actively building an organization with Savvy. Any little nuances or anything that I missed here, Russ?
No, I think you described it well on the new customer pool and the top enroller pool. You know, sometimes people get a little bit confused on like, well, how do I do that? And I would just put it as the more new customers you have, the better, and the more they order, the better. And then same thing on the enroller one. The more new people you enroll as reps in your organization that you sponsor personally during the months. And then depending on what pack they buy, and then their purchases following that within that month, the more volume that they do, that will increase your points in the pool and raise your standings in the pool.
Awesome. And you can also learn more about this in Savvypreneurs. There's a whole unit dedicated to how do I qualify for this. Every month on the update calls, like for tomorrow when they do the update call, they're always going to be updating what those numbers are. So you'll always know what this is. So if you want to dive into any of this in a more detailed oriented way, you can definitely do that in Savvypreneurs, and you'll be able to kind of find more information on exactly how does somebody qualify for this, how do they, increase their rank inside of these. But we're just kind of doing high level tonight, just so you can see what's available to you as participating in this compensation plan, if that makes sense. So those are the bonus pools. Next thing I want to talk about is this is where sometimes I lose people. This is where sometimes people go, wait a minute, how does that exactly work? And so I tried to make this as simple as possible. I tried to make it so I could understand it without knowing anything about this business. So this is team bonus or team commissions, team volume is earned from the levels of your brand ambassadors. So what does that actually look like? Now, there are several different levels inside of our company in terms of ranks. We're just gonna use a few ranks as examples to show you how this actually works. If you wanna go dive into more detail, go to savvy.com, scroll to the bottom, look at policies and procedures. The whole entire comp plan is right there. And again, we are going to come out with a very pretty looking one and videos and all that stuff. It's very much like a spreadsheet right now, but we're going to make it look all pretty and nice once we get towards launch. So let's say, for example, I'm a senior rep, right? If I'm a senior rep, that means I have one personal active rep. So that means, let's say I enrolled Russ, and Russ is active, so he has 50 PV or more. Either he placed an order or customers placed an order, and that's 50 PV. So that means that I'm active, Russ is active, and together on my entire team, I've done 1,000 in team volume. And that, if I do that for the first time and I hold it for 2 months as a senior rep, so month one I'm a senior rep, and then month two I'm a senior rep, I'm gonna get a payout of $100 rank advancement bonus just for attaining that level. It's kind of a bonus for getting there, as long as you maintain it for 2 months. So that's what a senior rep actually is. So let's say I have Russ. Russ is on my level 1. Let's say Russ goes out and does 500 in volume from his team. Then because I'm a senior rep, I qualify for a 4% what I call an override. This is very similar to what you would get if you were a real estate agent and a real estate broker. Like the agent would get the percentage that he gets, and the broker is going to get a percentage on top of what the agent got paid. And so that's where this is the 4%. Usually you only see overrides in real estate, investments, insurances, things like that is usually where you see overrides, where people have like agency type models. But here, that's why in a home-based business, you can do this and be able to help other people, ensure that they're successful by helping them do what you've already done. And then I also, as a senior rep, get level 2. So let's say Russ brought on Jen, and Jen did volume. I would get a 2% override on Jen's business as well. And so that is a senior rep. So a senior rep is going to get paid on 2 levels beneath them. So Russ and then Jen. So 2 levels of people. Then let's say I become a senior leader, which is, I'm about to click over right now. That's 5 personal active reps. So I've personally enrolled 5 people, and they're all active with 50 personal volume, either from themselves or from customers. There's a total of 10,000 team volume. And then if I maintain that for 2 months in a row, I'll get $1,000 rank advancement bonus. Now, we didn't talk about the other rank advancement bonuses between senior rep and senior leader, because there's a couple in between there. And there's a couple more as you keep going up. So as a senior leader, I get a bit of a raise as a senior leader. Now, instead of me, if we go back one, instead of me making 4% on level 1, I make 7%. And then on level 2, I earn 4%. On level 3, 3%. And level 4, 2%. So now, instead of me earning just on 2 levels, I'm gonna earn on 4 levels, kind of misplaced from me. So remember, level 1 was Russ, level 2 is Jen, level 3 could be Anson, level 4 could be Ken. So we can have all those different levels, and depending on what they produce, I'll get an override of an additional 4% or 3% or 2%. Now, again, that doesn't come out of Russ's pay or anything like that. It's an additional override that I get paid on top of that for developing this organization that we're developing. Just like if I was a real estate broker and I was developing real estate agents. That's how this is basically modeled. Anything in terms of the team bonus that I either misspoken or I missed or anything?
Yeah, I think you've described it. The thing I would point out is that each of those levels, again, say that me, Russ, is level 1. It's my personal purchases that you're earning 7% on, but it's also my customers' purchases. So it's not just me. If I've got a pool of 100 customers that are buying through me on every one of those customer orders, yes, I get that retail commission that we talked about earlier, but you, my sponsor, are getting 7% on top of that based on my orders and all those customer orders. And it's the same through all those 4 levels. So, we hear 4 levels and think, oh, well, that's just 4 people. That can be a lot of people that you're earning off of, a lot of volume that you're earning from.
And that's also where we talk about, because we're not doing really customer gathering right now. I think when we get to the point where really more people are going down the customer road than the rep road, I think you're going to see like a 20-to-1, 30-to-1 ratio of customers to reps, which is extremely high for this industry, just because of how the company is structured, because of the e-commerce platform we have, all the technology we mentioned, because that's really what you're going to see. There's no limit to people having customers. And is everyone going to shop every single month? They might. And then also put in wear and share on this, because once you have wear and share and people are doing the $99 a month every single month so they can get their $110 in credit, that is something that can really geometrically get a little crazy. So that is the team bonus. What is really exciting to me about this next one is what I look for when I look into a compensation plan for a company like that. I want to see how does it layer in leadership, because a home-based business, the whole point of a home-based business is that you work yourself out of a job, not into a position you could never leave, which happens a lot in the home-based business industry. People sometimes feel like they're on a hamster wheel and they can never get off, always having to produce, always having to do things, because the second they get off that hamster wheel, it kind of all falls apart. And so with this compensation plan, this next aspect of it, which is called a generation bonus, is basically an additional override for helping other people get to where you are. So when you become an executive with the company, that's somebody who has 8 personal active reps, 20,000 in team volume, and they get a $2,000 rank advancement bonus for holding it for 2 months. But when somebody is an executive, their role and their goal is to help other people become executives. I know who I'm working with, her goal is how many executives can I create? I think somebody on her team just became another executive. So what does that actually mean? Why would you want, because in corporate America, it doesn't make sense for people to do this, because it's almost like, well, why am I training my replacement? And you actually want people to go faster than you went in this plan, because as they do, you can get an additional bonus on top of that. So this is for pure visual representation, because it would never look like this in a billion years, purely for visual representation. Let's say, for example, like there's Russ. So Russ is that person. Well, Russ, you have a little longer hair. I do apologize.
Yeah.
You have Russ there, and Russ brought on Jen. And Jen brought on Sandy. And Sandy became an executive with the business. Now, because Sandy is an executive, that creates a new generation. And now I get an additional 2% override on Sandy's business. Okay? And so that's what a generation is. So that's generation 1 is what that creates. And same thing, if it went down that other line, wherever the computer program will go down and look down every single line and look for that first generation of executive and pay you an additional 2% on top of whatever other commissions you're earning. Now let's say I become a director. As a director, I get additional generations of these bonuses. So what this is building is something we call layered leadership. So if you create layered leadership in your organization where they don't need you to do the things that you trained them how to do, that creates walk away income. And the way you can, I look at this in Savvy, is that if somebody walks into a boutique and they buy a piece of clothing. That's where the boutique owner stops. But imagine if that boutique owner, for every customer that walked in that store, they could go open their own boutique. And then that person could open their own boutique, and that person could open their own boutique. It's kind of like, in a way, if you think of it, franchising, it's very similar. So let's talk about a director. A director is someone who has 12 personal active reps, 250,000 in team volume. So we made a little jump there. And they can earn a $25,000 rank advancement bonus for holding that for 2 months in a row. So let's say Russ, good job, Russ. Russ becomes an executive. I earn a 3% override on that entire business on top of all the other ways that we talked about earning. Then let's say Russ has those other 2 executives or higher. They could be senior executives, they could be directors, whatever they are, but an executive or higher. I'll get an additional 3% on that generation. Well, let's go one more. As another executive generation. Again, most of these, now we're looking like 4 away. How this always works out is we're probably talking more like 1 away and then 10 away and then 20 away. So it doesn't matter how far away are they. The computer program is looking for the next executive wherever they are, and that creates a generation. And now, again, you're getting paid all the team commissions and all the other things that we've talked about. So this is the generation of bonus. So a director can earn an additional 3% through 4 generations, actually, or 3 generations, I'm sorry, of other executives. And that's how generation bonus. This is kind of where people get lost a little bit, but I think all this really means is you get to executive and help people get to executive, and then get to director by doing that. And that's really how this is a conversation that you usually have farther out. But the reason we wanted to do this now is so you can see where you're going to, if that makes any sense. Anything to add here at all, Russ?
No, I would just piggyback on what you said. It's a real powerful bonus, but if you think about it too much, people can be like, okay, this is a little bit over my head. I like to think about it as the win-win bonus. If you get yourself to executive and I get you to executive, that's a win-win for both of us. And, as we're looking at it on the screen here, we're counting, it looks like, 5 or 6 people deep. But this bonus, you could be 20, 50, 100 people deep, the way it really works in real life. So it's a very powerful bonus. I would add, just to clarify that the generations aren't cumulative, so you aren't getting 3, then 6, then 9%. It's 3% throughout. But you're talking about earning on a lot of people. This is the one that goes really deep, and you're earning on your team that you're recruiting, and it's their customers. Again, it's the volume is their purchases and their customer purchases. So it becomes quite powerful for the person that, again, has reached those executive and higher ranks, and they're able to help those around them to reach the same ranks.
Yeah, and again, these are the things that you think future oriented, because again, we're not in customer gatherer mode right now. We're really, who wants to see the business side of this on a grander scale, and that's what we're looking for. And if you remember that huge curve that we talked about, that's where you want to build towards, because we're not there yet. And so right now, every day that you're building a savvy business is you're working towards that moment where we kind of go like this and all customers start coming in. Because I can guarantee you right now, I have a bunch of people that are customers and they're waiting for inventory. And I'm sure lots of people on this webinar are waiting for inventory and all these different things. There will come a time, mark our words and to the words of Ben, that we will have inventory that's always here, that there'll always be things to order. And it's just not there yet. But when it is, can you imagine what that's really going to look like in terms of all the different things that we've talked about tonight? And that's really what the generation bonus is all about. And so when you think about, okay, when I'm out in the market, when I'm out talking to people, what actually am I looking for? What I'm looking for is I'm looking for the board of directors that will be part of our organization. And I go, okay, is this a person that could potentially become a board of directors? And you go, well, how the heck do you know who's going to be a board of director? Well, think about it. I would be like, who would I want to leave my dog with? Or if you have kids, who would you want to leave your kids with? Who can you actually have a relationship that could be long-term in a business partnership and really kind of go, okay, who do I want to go to battle with? Who would I want to be in the foxhole with is an old term they used to use. And it really kind of comes down to those are the kind of people you're looking to align yourself with now, because that's who's going to go through this startup phase with you and get to that point where you can all participate in that. And will people quit? Yeah, I guarantee you more people will quit than will stay. And that's just how it works out. But that's the beauty of this business. If people do decide that it's not for them now, they can always come back later. Because when somebody gets frustrated, they're like, oh, I don't know why it's happening or why this is happening. That's cool. Come back in 3 months when everything is beautiful and polished and we're all good to go. Because again, we always have to keep reminding ourselves, because Savvy looks so good right now. You almost expect it to be how it's going to be 6 months from now. It's just not there yet. And we have to keep reminding ourselves we're looking for our board of directors. Who's going to be on the board of directors of this company that you are building to create something that you could potentially have for yourself and also pass on to generations. And that's really, what we're working towards in terms of it. And the last slide here is kind of something that is a mantra that I put in my brain all the time is, who are we looking for right now? And that's builders, not browsers. Can people browse? Can people, order products and go, hey, I want to try this top, I want to try these leggings? Of course they can. But we're not looking for browsers, because if you just imagine walking into a store and half of the things weren't on the rack. That's not a really good experience. You're bringing people into a store that's not done yet. It's almost like if I was building a house and I had, the 2x4s up, but the concrete wasn't poured yet. And then I put a couch in the middle of that unfinished house. And then people are walking in your house going, hey, where's the sink and where's your kitchen? I'm like, well, it's not built yet. It's just not, it's not here. I can't show it to you. And so that's really the idea of what we wanted to really kind of give everyone an insight on. Here's kind of how the compensation plan works, but here's also who you're looking for it to work for right now during pre-launch. So Russ, with that, anything that you wanted to add or kind of touch on as we close out?
Oh, I think you've summed it up well. I'll throw out an analogy, and I can't take credit for this. I think it was actually Ken that explained it to me this way once. But when you're building a tree, it's the leaves and the flowers and the foliage. That's what makes it beautiful. But what gives it the strength is that trunk and the strong branches. And that's where we're at right now. We're building the strength of your tree and finding those leaders and those people that are really going to make your organization a strong organization. Not to say that there's not opportunity to get customers and those things, but we're really focusing on building that strong wood that's going to be able to support your organization. And then it'll be ready to have this, this beautiful bloomage or trees or fruit, or whatever you want to use in the analogy. But we want that tree to be really strong. And I think that's part of what's made us really powerful through this phase, is that we're seeing a lot of those people that are really strong leaders and strong wood joining us and building that out. So that's something I like to think of it that way. And I think you've described it well. And it's good times to be here to be able to build that and partner with you guys on doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to end it, because that's really what this is about. And it's by design to be, that's what Savvy is about, building your life by design. And really, when people go, well, when are we going to launch? Are we going to launch in October? Are we going to launch in December, January? When are we going to launch? I'm like, I don't can we launch like December of 2021? Because I'd be down with that. Because the more we're in pre-launch, the more we have time to really get everything fine-tuned. Because again, this is working pre-launch. This isn't pre-launch where things aren't working. We're working through all of this. What are we going to carry consistently in the shop? How's the app going to work with the e-commerce? All those different things. What's the finalized compensation plan going to look like? How are the little nuances with customers doing wear and share? All those different things are being built right now. So I would just encourage you, when you're out in the market, and that was the whole point of tonight's Mindset Monday, was to go, okay, now I know kind of the things that are putting this all together. When I'm out in the marketplace, who am I looking for? And you're really looking for those people that are ready to build something not so much browse right now, but we will. You know, we're open for browsing. It's just kind of like sparse right now, and only available 2 days a week. So with that, I want to thank everyone for giving us your time tonight and handing over the reins to the guys for an evening. We're definitely very much a very small sliver of a minority here at Savvy. And you can always know that the reason that we are here, you know, again, I can't use the products. Russ can't use the products either, unless there's Russ, I don't know. We don't use the products, but the thing about it, we know the community that's being built. We know where this is going. And it's just something really, really special. And we just hope that everyone understands what they have their hands on, and that this is a time that won't ever exist again in Savvy's history. So with that, thank you all so much for hopping on here tonight or whenever you're watching this recording. And we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sounds good. Thanks, James.
Bye.